Hey guys, happy Monday. I hope everyone had a nice weekend, although it's currently Sunday and it has literally rained all day, so that's kind of been annoying. But I hope you at least got to do something fun on Saturday. We went out and played tennis and did some yard work and mowed the lawn and just tried to be outside as much as possible. So you might also see Mrs. Smith in the kitchen right now. It's almost dinner time, so she's making potato skins right now. Yum, yum, yum. Before I grill. Oh, I thought she was going to say something. Nope.
No, well, the cupboards are all open. How
Oh,
embarrassing.
how embarrassing. Okay. She's also got some pretty bright blue pants on. Those are pretty cool. Yeah, they're like
Sorry, they're kind of green. Don't look.
okay. So chapter 12 is what we're going to read today, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do a little bit in Google Classroom. Sorry if I make a face, but there's something in the oven that like fell on the bottom and it's burning and it smells really bad. So here we go. Chapter 12. Brody looked from the closed school doors at the backs of the last kids walking down the sidewalk. He lowered himself to the ground and rested his chin on his paws. He should be here, he said again. Surprise, surprise, Patsy said. Shut it, hairball, Tuck growled. You're not helping. He turned back to Brody. Listen, buddy, just because he wasn't here doesn't mean we won't find him. Maybe he, threw up or something. My girl did that once, and she got to stay home all day and watch TV. Her mom even let me lie up on the couch with her. We ate popcorn, man. Popcorn. You ever had popcorn? You're right, Brody said, jumping up. Aiden missed school all the time. He's probably just at home. He's got to be. Come on. Brody didn't have any way to think about the way home. Brody didn't have to think about the way home. He took off at a run away from the school. You know the way? Yeah, I know the way. Brody led them at a run, down the street for several blocks before taking a couple of turns. First left, and then right. They passed kids still walking home. Brody and Patsy dodged to the side to slide around them, Tuck usually jumping rattly right through to them. Brody stopped for a moment at the corner to let Patsy catch up. We're close, he told Tuck. When Patsy finally trotted up, not in as near much of a rush as Brody would have liked, they started down the narrow, unpaved alley. The snow is deep off the main streets. It would have come to Brody's stomach in places if they'd sunk into it. Walking on their ghostly paws, though, they stepped right along the top, leaving no footprints. It's right up here by the end, Brody said, unable to stop the wag in his tail. Just past those kids playing around. They ain't playing around, Patsy said. What do you mean? Brody asked, but then he looked closer at the kids and heard the rawness of one of the boys' voices. Just go away! There was a little anger in the voice, but it was mostly fear and tears and desperation. All of Brody's wag withered away at the sound of it. The boy was up on the roof of a low building. A garage, Brody's mind told him, with his arms up over his face. Three bigger kids were on the ground beneath him. Two of them hurled snowballs up at his huddled body. Those weren't the fun, soft snowballs of Brody's happy memory with Aiden. They were packed tight and thrown viciously. They smacked the boy's upheld arms with hard thuds. The boys on the ground laughed. Their coughed-out laughs were as ugly as picked scabs. Besides Brody, Tuck whined softly. They both slowed their eyes on the boys. Ugh, people are the worst, Patsy said. I'm glad I'm dead. They definitely look like the cat torturing type. Tuck and Brody followed her, but more slowly. They both had their eyes on the jeering, shouting boys and the prey they had trapped. Brody stopped in the snow. I wish we could help him, Tuck said quietly. Why? Patsy spat, still walking. It's funny, Tuck said, ignoring Patsy's words, how different everything is now. How I can understand stuff. Back before, if I'd walked past this, I probably wouldn't have even noticed how sad and scared that kid is. I'd have just seen the loud boys, hearing their laughing. I'd have seen them throwing stuff, and I would have wanted to play with them. But now I can see things better. Now all I can see is that sad kid. I know, me too. A gravel-specked snowball rocketed up and glanced off the kid's huddled head, knocking his hat off. It slid down the roof and closer to the ground. Tuck took a step closer. I mean, I wouldn't have cared, he said, his voice sounded small. But Tuck, he was wrong. He'd always been the kind of soul who cared. Well, you do now, Brody said. Yeah, I do. Come on, fellas, Patsy called. We got a different boy to find, right? And it ain't getting any lighter. She was right. The winter sun was already low in the sky. Brody sighed. He tried to remember what the angel had said, tried to remember the bigger truth, but he couldn't tell, standing there watching the tears of the boy on the roof, whether the bigger truth would want him to find his own boy or help the one in front of him. Come down and play, one of the trolls called. Come on down, Danny, it will drag you down. He started to climb up the garage can. The garbage can that was standing by the garage. Probably the same one that Danny had used to get to the roof. The crying kid scooted farther up the roof, but there was no getting away. There are like no adults that are watching this. This is weird that there's a kid on a roof. Anyways, come on, Brody said at last, turning away. We can't help him. Tuck whined and shuffled his feet. Behind them, the cries of the boy and the laughter of his attackers grew louder. The hunt was nearing its finish. Blood was in the water. But then Danny said it. He didn't even shout it or yell it. He said it. Leave me alone. Please. He didn't even say it like he was talking to the snarling monster who was climbing toward him. He said it softly. There's no way Brody should have heard it. He was down an alley a ways by then, and the boy said it so softly, but somehow the words got to his ear, almost like they were carried by an angel. Brody stopped short. It was the please that got him. Because when that boy on the roof said those words, they echoed in 1,000 woken memories in Brody's heart. Memories of his boy. His boy had said those words, those exact words. Leave me alone, please. He ran back to the garage. Tuck ran beside him. The goon was up on the garbage can now, one gloved hand holding the edge of the roof and swiping at the boy. Danny had his knees up tight to his chest. His pale face was wet with tears. Brody charged up and leapt at the boy on the garbage can with his teeth bared and a bark in his throat. He flew right through the boy and landed in the snow on the other side. You can't touch the living, Patsy called. The creep stretched out up on one foot and reached. His hand closed around Danny's pant leg. Danny cried out, but the creep caught hold and began to pull him down the roof. The boys waiting on the ground cheered. Tuck tried, but he leapt straight through the kid just like Brody had. Brody whined. Dark memories swirled, choking him, and then his eyes dropped down to the garbage can that the monster was balancing on. It teetered and rocked as the monster tugged at his victim. You can't touch that idiot, Patsy hissed again. But Brody stepped forward, his eyes on the garbage can. It wasn't alive. He could touch that. He remembered Tuck and the French fry. He remembered landing with a thud in the back seat when they were car hopping. He took off, running, straight at the garbage can. He focused on his shoulder. He put everything he had into making that shoulder real and solid, like a dream come true. Excuse me. He leapt. With a crash, he smashed into the garbage can. He felt the frozen metal connect with his shoulder, and his body jerked to a stop. The creep hung for a moment, one hand on the roof and the other clutching the boy. And then he fell, his body twisting as his hand slipped loose. He landed with a grunt and a smash on top of the garbage can. There was a brutal thunk as his face connected with the metal rim of the can. A splash of red blood squirted into the snow. The boy rolled off onto the ground moaning. Dude, you okay? The boy moaned and sat up. Blood was smeared across his face and his nose was swollen and bent. The boy wasn't a monster anymore. He was just a kid again, bleeding in the snow. Oh, dang, your nose is broken, one of the boys said. The fallen monster didn't answer. His face was white, his eyes shining. He took a jagged, choking breath. A little moan started in his throat. Brody watched him go, unwagging, and he knew what a hurt boy trying not to cry looked like, and he didn't like it. He looked down at the blood, so red and bright and blaming. On the roof above, the boy Danny was still sniffling, but he was safe. Come on, Tuck said, let's go. You just blew a lot of soul, smart stuff, Patsy said. And for what? I helped him, Brody said. Did you? So you think they're going to be like best friends tomorrow? You think that creep's going to be less mean tomorrow? Less mad when you've gone off your precious forever and the kid on the roof is still stuck down here? You think you helped him, Mutt? I did what I could. Hey, Patsy protested, flinching away. Take it easy, Brody, Tuck said, stepping between them. Yes, Psycho, I ain't got much shine left, and I'm a lot more interested in keeping it than you seem to be. Brody shook his head, flapping his ears, and trying to clear the anger and hurt from his heart. Sorry, Brody muttered. Sure, dog, I get it, but what you don't get is that none of that garbage is your problem, and you don't belong in the world of the living anymore. And all you're going to do is make a mess, and lose your soul along the way. I did what I could, Brody said again. What else can we do? Yeah, I didn't fix the world. I can't fix the kids tomorrow. Maybe all I can do is make today less dark for him. But if that's all I can do, shouldn't I do it? And Brody was right. And that kid, the kid up on the roof, he didn't know who to be grateful to, but he was grateful all the same. And the other kid, the one dripping blood and anger on the snow, well, that kid's on his own journey too. He's got his own darkness and his own light. The three spirits walked on, the shadows still growing around them. This is it, Brody cut in, stopping abruptly. The other two stopped beside him. He was looking at the back of a rundown house with a falling down fence and a glum yard strewn with junk. This is it, he said again. His tail started to wag. This is our home. That's the end of chapter 12. All right, so there's a new exact path challenge, so make sure that you guys are doing your exact path in your check-in. Shouts to the people that did their 60 minutes last week. There was only 6 this week, so that was pretty low. It was in Mrs. Reynolds' class, Natalia, Nayana, and Olivia. And then in my homeroom, it was Cade, Christine, and Jaden. So good job, guys. Hopefully we can have more than 6 this week. So after you do your exact path and your reading and your check-in, there's new social studies lessons this week, so make sure you do those. And then in Google Classroom today, there's a list. We're starting an opinion project or an informational project. And that's going to kind of be the last big thing we're going to do this school year. So you're going to do today, there's a list of topics that you can choose from, and they have to do with social studies. You're going to pick one of those topics that you're going to do an informational project on. It's going to be a slideshow. So there's a list of topics. There's a couple websites that you can go to look up some information about them to see which sounds interesting. They're all things that I talked about in the social studies lesson. So if you have already listened to those, they should be pretty familiar. So you're going to pick one of those to do, submit it in a Google form today, which there's a link for that in Google Classroom. And that is all you have to do today. You're just going to pick your topic, not start your project. All right, have an awesome Monday, and I will see you all on Tuesday. Bye, guys.